Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel, and I'm your host for LZ Productions. You are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 10. I believe this is Episode 6. Martell No Lies. I did roll my eyes. I'll just explain, I guess, a little bit later. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video and also subscribe to my channel. You can also leave your comments below. Now let's get into this episode because I enjoyed it thoroughly. Okay. Someone said that Tisha is just like Mel. And I'm saying, oh, she is? We begin where we left off in the last episode. Tisha stormed off. She was done talking with Nell and all that good stuff. Then we see Nell said, she just didn't want to hear the truth. She wanted to do da-da-da-da. I'm just going to drink my coffee. I was like, well, why would you say that? Next thing you know, another car pulled up. I was like, well, who's coming? And it was Tisha. Obviously, production said, we ain't doing that. We got to have some type of good scene. So come back here and resolve what's up. So Tisha got out the car and she came back in and she just had a talk. Like, look, I do respect you at the end of the day. Telling Nell this. And I think a conversation is still owed. I just want to have a grown woman conversation and not you hollering at me. And Nell said, I'm not hollering at you or raising your voice. I'm not doing that. I will let you know when I'm doing that. You will know. And then she's talking about, well, here is where I have PTA meetings and all that. Da, 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 da. Tisha Scott, you have been on reality TV for 10 seasons, filming. And you're now trying to be self-conscious about how you look in certain Stop. But anyways, Tisha let her guard down. And basically, she just let us know how it really feels to get all of this attack towards her marriage. People saying this, people saying that, da 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 da. And it's really hard. And I just don't feel like doing that all the time. Always got to be asked about this marriage thing. It's just not good. And it weighs a lot on me. Nell at that point was giving her grace. And she said, this is the vulnerability and the transparency that she was looking for out of Tisha. And it's cool. And they had a better conversation and they are ready to move on. Nell did say that she didn't have anything really against Tisha or whatever. And that's just that. But I think some other things happened later on this season. But anyways, as far as what the trailer was given. Anyways, it got brought up to what Nell is. She's a licensed life coach. Tisha was shady in her confessional. I mean, Nell, the way you be communicating to people a lot, how are you a life coach? The way you let your children manipulate you, even if they even really were manipulating you, you guys let you involve in your children's life way too much. But you're supposed to be empowering another person's life. I'm not saying that your life sucks, but we've seen that you do have hardships in your life at even how to deal with your children. And you've been very fed up with it. So it's just like, okay. Okay. But that was that on that. Next scene. Kimmy and Maurice. Maurice wants to be whatever, I say performative, and act like he needs to check up on his friend Martell. He wants to have a chat with him because he's just not the same. It's just like, what is it? Like, why is he doing all of this stuff and lashing out? And Kimmy said, in my words, cut the BS. Martell is Martell. He's nice when he want to be nice, and then when he wants to be that, that's just how it is. Well, I've got to see what I can do to help him, to make him better, because we got to get him back to the old Martell. Marceau said something later on in this episode. I was like, preach. But Kimmy said, why do you think that you're going to be the savior? He may actually receive from people that he respects. I don't think that you're that one. Well, for some reason, Maurice was like, I'll be the one. I'll get him to break down his walls. Okay. William. And he's going to confirm to you what Kimmy says. I don't be feeling Kimmy these days because it's just like, but I mean, she do be telling the truth a lot. And this knucklehead, almond head, never wants to just take what she has to say for what it is. And she's talking about, you want to pour into Martell when you should be pouring more into Maurice Jr. I'm going to say this, Jalen. You may have gotten the worst stick and the worst hand. Monster just had a little bit less worse than you. I'm going to say that much. I do think that he should have stayed in Michigan. Y'all can get mad at me. Y'all can hate me. Say, oh, at least I believe that Maurice Jr. should have stayed in Michigan. Y'all can hate me, cuss me out, whatever. And y'all probably are under the guise of, oh, a black man that actually wants to be around his children. We got to give him so much accolades. But the most of the time, he thinks that parenting is just preaching. That's what he thinks it is. And that's not what all a child needs. That's not what all a man-child needs. So whatever. So the stepmommy, been saying this. This ain't the first time. So let's get over that. And yeah, there's a lot that we can say that Kimmy has said to you, Maurice, that you don't listen to. Crazy. Anyway, so Maurice gonna try his luck and press his luck. And he gonna get what he gets at this meeting with Martell a little bit later. Meanwhile, with the Fletchers, they finally talk a little bit about what happened between her and Tisha and all that, and it's just gonna be cool. I don't know if they brought up Lance and Destiny. I can't remember. Anyways, on the other side of town, Tisha and Marceau wanted to talk. Tisha wanted to tell her how it was and how she felt, about this whole Nell situation, and she was saying that I was in her husband's face and all that, You think I was in his face? All Marceau says that, well, you gave Chris something that you usually give me. Marceau has said this in other interviews. What comes on our screens is another picture. And I know that we are only jaded and can go by what's on the screen a lot of times, because everybody just thinks that Marceau is this big, scary dude that talks down to this little girl, immature girl, all the time. Just like Miss Wanda, who amplifies and says, I don't like how you talk to my daughter. But I mean, she's a product of you. You don't think that there's any Wanda in your daughter, Wanda? Just saying. She told Marceau about Nell's
licensed life coach. Like they gave her one? What? Um, she had mentioned Destiny because of the other day that she was somewhere, she was with Kimmy and all them, and just saying what Nell was doing, da 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 da. Marcel ends up saying that you need to be careful being around Destiny because she chooses to be around Martell. I can't say as to what he's saying is wrong. He did say in his confessional, like, we can't tell Destiny who to hang around with, but watch what you're saying around him and all that good stuff because he's just not a good person. Was there any other scene before we get to the meat and potatoes? No. Let's go on to Maurice and Martell. Maurice is trying to figure out, how are you doing, Martell? How are you feeling? How da 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 da. Like you've been playing this villain, and I think now that you're really love playing this villain role. And he says that, look, when someone said something about me, I hadn't been saying nothing about them, da 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 da. So now I'm on attack, and I'm gonna come after you. But weren't you in season 1 trying to tell this man that he got 20 other girlfriends? And every time that you get upset and now you need to unleash your fury, not because when people say something about you as far as telling some of your dirt, it's when people don't follow your plan. That's when you lash out. So you like to be controlling. You like to be manipulative. That's what's going on. Your pride and ego gets hurt because people won't allow you to be a trash man around them. You lash out at Mel when she doesn't follow your program. Not because she revealed your secrets. So that's when I'm like, wait a minute, why do you keep saying you just did it because somebody said something about you? He ended up saying to Maurice about, I didn't want it to go that far as doing that interview. He wanted Marceau and Tisha to apologize to him. If they would have did that, I wouldn't even tip it this far. So Maurice said, well, why am I in it? Because she said stuff about me. And he really just said that you were collateral damage. However, he went on to say at the reunion, because Maurice did not take up for him and his current lawsuit that his wife has against him for the harassing communications. He don't think that he's really for him, so that's why he allowed this girl to say what was said. So, as Kimmy said in the beginning, she was right. She don't respect you. And you went off of your own instinct on how you felt about him trying to stand up for you in your own law case, because you're just that arrogant and prideful that you had to go on and try to prove, and then you were just caught up in all your lies and stupidity on that reunion stage. That's why I roll my eyes at Martell. You are just one dumb ninja. Dumb as they come. Dumb as they come. So then Maurice was like, okay, so you were saying all this stuff about me, and you saw me having sex. So since you've seen me have sex, what does my look like? He said, what? What am I? Apparently, there is something specific about that thing that is very noticeable. I said, hey, okay. Okay, Maurice, whatever that is. I spy Inspector Gadget. Go Gadget eyes. Go Gadget magnified glass. What are we doing here? But anyways, there's something specific. I mean, if we're gonna get there, let's get there. You say that. And I'm really tickled because we know that there's other allegations about Martell that he's not willing to address, and nobody's really willing to address him as of yet. However, the Scotts and Martell have not been in the same room together as far as 1.0. Maybe that is going to be brought up because I think it's fair. We're going to bring up everything else. Oh, and Tisha keep talking about they just need to stay up out of marriages. Stay up out of marriages. She said that because if you say something about my marriage, I'm going to have to say something about yours. But this is love and marriage. I mean, unless we're changing the title to Teaching Friends, love and marriage. Even Heart and Hustle talk about their relationships. And speaking of that, Bell Collective, after only 4 episodes, Heart and Hustle is coming for you. Heart and Hustle is coming for you. And I think it was a mistake to let Akeisha go. Sophia's great, but I think it y'all gonna need Akeisha back. You got Selena, and that's good. Y'all gonna need Akeisha back. That's just my opinion. All right, get back to Love and Marriage Huntsville. Yeah, so finally Maurice tells what happened with this whole DUI, not DUI case. He says, he gives a timeline of when things happened after he left whatever happened at Black. He went to the office. Kimmy drove him to the office to get his car because that's where his car was parked. He did see Sadaris or whatever his name is, but he was just like a half hour, I think 30 minutes away or whatever. Kimmy was already there, bed, sleep. When I was leaving, I guess, to go home, he pulled a Karen Huger. He said he was hitting animals. He couldn't even say which animal. Was it a deer? Was it a raccoon? Was it a turtle? What you hit? Martell starts busting out laughing. Maurice says that Martell just wants to get back at Maurice, so that's why he's laughing. You got off on the case. That's all I can say. So I can't really argue on that. I don't know what to believe, but for whatever reason, they told you that you, by you saying that you hit an animal, somehow they came up with that you needed a DUI. But if you were under the influence and you still hit someone, they hit something. I don't know how you got off, but obviously something wasn't done right by the police. And that brings me to a little bit, I'm going to promote me a little bit. You know, I did watch the documentary of Jussie Smollett, The Truth About Jussie Smollett. It just released on Thursday on Netflix. And I covered that on yesterday, so go through my videos. I don't have a playlist for it as of yet, but go on and hear my take. I'm going to give my soundbite on it. But anyways, yeah. So towards the end of the conversation, Martell was like, if you say that I'm lying or whatever, because how Martell was saying it, he was gambling, but then also in the room. And Maurice was like, well, which one were you doing? Were you gambling or in the room watching me have sex? And then Martell said, I was gambling and watching you have sex. Or have in the room, but I'm saying have sex. Okay. But then Martell said, look, sue me if you're about that life. Shout out to Claudia Jordan. And he got you right there. What is up with that, Maurice? And the only reason I call you out about that is you had all of this for all the YouTubers out there that you were going to sue, and rightfully so. And rightfully so. However, the case was dropped. Anyways, but but I'm sure in these reality TV contracts you can't sue like that. I don't think they can, but y'all can let me know if they can sue like that. What else? But that was it for that. Then Marceau, Kimmy, and Maurice, they meet up. And they talk about the talk. And he brings up that he told him, you know, you need to look at my anatomy, or tell me what was on my anatomy. Tell me what was on it. They bust out laughing. So Maurice wants to have a get together with all the guys. And I guess Maurice wanted him to have a sit down with Martell. And he said, for what? Martell is a liar. Like, who really wants to have a talk with a liar? Because you're never going to get to the truth anyway. So I'm with Marceau on that. So he's going to have a get together and all that. I already seen the previews from next week's episode, and I'm kind of just locked in. This episode was pretty good to me. I thought we were getting the Destiny and Lance thing sit down this episode, according to the previews from last week. But however, I guess we're going to get it next week. But things start heating up, and it's looking quite good. So y'all tell me your thoughts about this episode. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the resolution. Oh, and what I meant to prove about Tisha, y'all say that Tisha's just like Mel. Mel will not turn back to try to resolve anything. She'll have another conversation, and she's just going to tell you how much right that she wants to be in it. And how much right she's in it. Okay. If I'm lying, you know, prove it. You can't though. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. And until the next one, peace.